Hello everybody, Greg Demmons here from Real English Victoria. I just wanted to get back to our CELPIP videos, and last night in my CELPIP class we talked about CELPIP Listening Part 1, Listening to Problem Solving. So this section takes about 8 minutes. There are 8 questions, so you're going to have about a minute per question. I'll give you a description of what you're going to experience. So first of all, there are 2 speakers. There's always a man and a woman, and they are not familiar with each other, which means they've never met before. One person has a problem, and the other person is a public worker who helps them. So, for example, it could be a bus driver helping someone to find a place, or maybe a police officer giving someone directions, or maybe even a trip to the vet where you have to talk to, or where the person is talking to the vet about a problem with their pet. So that's what you're going to hear. There are 3 parts of the conversation. In the first part, it's going to introduce the problem and give a first offer of help. So let's say, for example, the person is lost and they encounter a police officer. The first thing that you're going to hear is the person explaining their problem to the police officer, and the police officer offering them help the first time. The second video, and then after you've watched that first video, you're going to have 2 or 3 questions that you're going to have to answer about that part of the video. In part 2, what's going to happen is that the person who had the problem is going to come back to that same person, and they're still going to have a problem. It could be the same problem, they couldn't find where they were going or something like that, or it could be another problem that resulted from what happened in the first video. And the third video is going to be a little conversation that resolves the problem. So they find a solution, okay? And then after each one of these, like I say, you're going to have 2 or 3 questions for a total of 8 in all. And what's important for this is the English focus. And over here, what you're going to be listening for when the speakers are speaking are how they make or how they consider, accept, and decline offers or suggestions. So people are giving you suggestions or giving you a possible solution to your problem, and listen to how people make those polite suggestions. Listen to how they make those polite offers, and then also listen to how the other person receives and whether they accept or reject those offers. And as far as a language point, you're going to, particularly in Canadian conversation, you're going to hear a lot of would and will in this type of conversation. And for would, that basically means maybe. So, for example, if I go to get my haircut, and at the end of the haircut, the hairdresser says to me, Greg, you should use this shampoo. And I might say something like, well, that would be helpful. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that I'm agreeing with the person that I should buy it? No, I'm not doing that. What I'm saying, yes, it would be helpful, but I'm not making any agreement to buy it, okay? Will means that there's reasonable certainty, okay, that it's going to happen. So tomorrow I will teach CELPIP at 4:30 p.m. Okay, so that happens 3 days a week here in our school. There's no reason why it shouldn't happen tomorrow, so I can say I will teach it tomorrow. Right? Someone might say to me, but Greg, why don't you teach on Saturdays? I said, well, that would be convenient for you. No, but Unfortunately, I can't do that. Okay? So would just means, oh, it's a possibility, but not really something that is agreed upon. Okay? And the last thing, and what my students probably had most difficulty with last night, was the tone of voice. And so what you have to do is you have to stop listening to English as a bunch of words, and you have to start listening to the sounds so that you can hear the rising intonation of someone who's very excited, or the downward intonation of somebody who's feeling bad. You can hear my voice is a little bit different in this video. It's because I have a cold, and so naturally when I'm talking and I have a cold, my voice doesn't sound as up. So if you hear my voice and it's changed its tone, you're going to know that something is different. Okay? So you have to notice how these changes happen so that you can tell whether someone is interested in doing something. Yeah, that's a great idea. Or whether someone wants to think about it. Well, maybe. Okay? Or whether someone really doesn't want to say, I don't think so. Okay? So this is the English focus for you to pay attention to, and this is the general outline. What do I get my students to do to practice this? Of course, we're very lucky because we're in an English-speaking country. If you are here, or if you're in an English-speaking country, here are some things that you can do as well. For free practice, listen to people shopping with sales clerks. Go to a store, listen to people trying to choose clothes, listen to the clerks making suggestions, and then asking them if they would like to buy. And it's not rude. You can walk around and do that without it being a strange experience. When you're on the bus, don't be afraid to listen to people talking on the bus and listen to their tone of voice. Try to hear whether they're happy, in a good mood, etc. If you're in line at the bank, for example, you can also listen to tellers at the bank talking to customers. Good place to practice. Or, and this is helpful for you if you're not living in an English country, you can try watching some TV shows and look at how people are acting and behaving when they're speaking, and listen to their voice and see if that helps you to understand what they're talking about, and in particular over here what they're sounding like when they're making, considering, accepting, and declining offers or suggestions. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Again, the best thing for you to do to improve your listening in English is to do lots of listening in English. Good luck.